The idea of a video game being better than the movie it's based on is such a hard concept to grasp. We, as a society, have seen time and time again the failure of licensed video games. The mirror of the situation, that being movies based on games, also tend to flop due to poor handling of the source material. But there are some that break free of this normality, and one such case is...
Oh my god! What is that?
Now, this game did stray from the source material, but was much to the game's benefit than its dismay. This is such a random game, I'm sure, but let me tell you why I think the title of this video is accurate. The 2008 Disney movie, simply titled Bolt, is an animated movie about a dog who believes that he has superpowers. It is revealed early on in the movie that this, however, is not the case, and all the nonsense in his head is his own imagination from working on a movie set. The entire movie is then Bolt trying to find his way back to his owner, Penny, while also coming to terms that he himself is not the heroic underdog and is in fact just an actor. The game was made by a studio named Avalanche Software, and if you haven't heard of them, they made a tiny little game that you might have heard of recently. You know, Hogwarts Legacy? Same company. Wild. Anyway, the game itself is everything people wanted the Bolt movie to be. It is just Bolt being a superdog. Some could say that what Bolt did, subverting the expectations, was a great idea for such a movie. However, I disagree. I think this movie would have been better if it were just a superdog plot. This idea, I think, just really wasn't suited for a kid's movie. Making him a dog doesn't really change that fact either. The game opens up with a stealth mission where you are infiltrating the enemy stronghold. As any first mission does, this is where the tutorial is and where you learn all the different mechanics of the game, from maneuvering the landscape with your tools to sneakily ending a man by throwing him into the raging waters. But this girl isn't where the fun is. Stealth missions have their place, but this game would be pretty lackluster if that's all this was. This isn't no Sly Cooper. No, the real star of the show is obviously Bolt. Bolt somehow masters the art of combat in a way not many games can. Not because they are overly complex or visually stunning, which graphics-wise, this game holds up pretty well nearly 15 years later. It's the sheer amount of speed and power you feel using Bolt. His attacks are basically Sonic Dash attacks, but on a much more frequent scale, and that's like the best part of most 3D Sonic games. Most people will look at this and find it to get monotonous, but for a child, let me tell you, for a child, this combat was peak. Anything that had the characters zipping around opponent to opponent was already a W. The grabbing of your enemies, bashing them into the ground before throwing them, the ground slam, the laser eyes, all pretty generic combat in its own right, but with Bolt, it felt so fluid and fast-paced, everything a child would want. This game did not hold back either. It was a proper action film and a game for children. The same opening mission has you dodging and weaving a heavy machine gun and missiles from an attack helicopter similar to the movies. Not only that, the fight concludes with Bolt catching a missile and launching it back at them. And you're to tell me this helicopter was unmanned? Both of them are murderers, for real. And let us not forget the late 2000s comedy.
Are you gonna hurt him?
Your dad? I don't know what Calico's gonna do to your father.
I was talking to my dog.
The next mission begins at an ancient-looking temple, where Bolt gets more abilities. We can never have enough abilities. One such ability is a super bark, pretty self-explanatory. Another is super speed, which he uses to outrun another attack helicopter. You know a game is good when the bosses with health bars are phallically shaped helicopters. The last thing Bolt gets this level is a limited time power boost that is standard for this kind of game. Still doesn't make it any less cool. This level ends with the big bad showing up and the temple collapsing on top of Bolt and Penny. Penny states that this will buy them some time and hide out because, well, the enemy believes he just unalived a child and her dog, so... Not to bore you with the details, but this section ends with him blowing up the train. I understand this organization took your dad and whatever, but this dog has a massive body count by this point, and not the good kind. They find the Russian base, and I'm not gonna go through like the whole thing, but just know it ends with Penny in a rocket, and then Bolt has to save her. Average Tuesday for them, really. They next end up on a cargo ship, and wouldn't you know it? My ship! The final level in the game is set on an island where the main base is, and oh boy, you will not believe the climax of this game. After you defeat the final boss, Bolt and Penny are given a choice to save her father or to stop a bunch of missiles that are about to launch. Obviously, they choose to stop the missiles. They take Bolt into the effing stratosphere where he jumps between them, taking each of them down. The story ends with Bolt and Penny continuing their search for the father, but not before one last cutscene of, oh yeah, this was all a movie. Yeah, I mean, of course it is, but that doesn't make this any less of a good game. I'm glad the game decided to take this route. The movie's plot was the journey of Bolt and finding the truth. After playing through the entire game, I still believe the way this game handled Bolt was indeed better than its movie counterpart. I mean, who doesn't want to play as a super powered dog? Anyway, that's all I have for now. Bye bye!